Hey BookTube, it's Rachel here. Today my video is all about book series that I want to finish. And if you know a bit about me, I actually prefer reading standalones, but of course there are exceptions to every rule, and here's a list of some books series that I'm currently reading, and for one reason or another I haven't finished, I haven't continued reading, and I want to, so hopefully this video will kind of motivate me to get on that. So maybe you guys can give me a little bit of encouragement. Now the first three series I want to talk about, I actually am caught up reading, but I'm simply waiting for the author to release the next published book. First one I want to talk about, no surprise, is Song of Ice and Fire series by George R. R. Martin. I'm super happy to say that I've read all 5 published books, and I'm now impatiently waiting for The Winds of Winter, the 6th book, which will come out who knows when, but at least I'm caught up and ready whenever that happens. I'm also waiting on the next trade issue of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. The number 5 trade should be coming out soon if it's not already released, but because I get these from the library, it always takes a little bit of a while to process, and I'm not always the first person in line, so I still haven't gotten a chance to read the 5th trade, but I love this series, can't wait to get my hands on that next one, so it's just a matter of doing that. I realize I could just get the individual issues, but I really prefer getting to read a larger chunk of the story at the same time, so I'd rather wait for the trade than kind of read little snippets every few weeks. So hopefully I get my hands on that one soon. You'll definitely know when that is. And the third series where I'm waiting on the next volume is the possibly duology, I'm not sure if it's going to turn into a series, You by Carolyn Kepnes. The second book, I believe, is supposed to be called Hidden Bodies, and it's supposed to come out fairly soon. I'm really excited to read that one. I hope it lives up to my expectations. I'd really like to read it as an audiobook. I'm assuming they'll get the same narrator, since the original narrator really created so much success for that story. I assume they'll get him back, but that's one I can't wait to get back to. Finally, I want to talk about 4 more series. The first one being Death Note, which is a manga I've been talking about a lot of my wrap-ups lately, so you know it's about a young Japanese student who finds a notebook that was dropped by a death god. When he writes someone's name in it, they die. And there's a detective named L that is trying to track down this student and basically find out who he is and stop him because he's taken it upon himself to rid the world of all the criminals. And the setup is fantastic. It's this really dark cat and mouse game. It's a lot of kind of mental games, so there isn't always a lot of action happening, but I just love the beginning of this series. I read the first 4 manga and I think I gave them all 5 stars, which is super rare. Just love this series so far. I do want to finish the entire series. It's probably one I'd like to own eventually, and I'll just you'll see it keep popping up in my wrap-up videos because I'm going to keep picking away from it until I finish all, I think it's 12 volumes, so hopefully I get that done in the next couple months. We'll see how it goes. The other series I'm working through is the Druid Chronicles, which I've been listening to as audiobooks, and I mentioned just recently. The first one being Hounded, all about a 2,000-year-old druid. It's set in an urban fantasy setting. I believe he lives in San Francisco, and it's just a world where all the gods exist, as well as creatures like vampires and werewolves. And it's just a really fun series. There's tons of humor. The narrator of the audiobook is fantastic. And one of the things I love about this urban fantasy series is it manages not to be paranormal romance. There is definitely a little bit of adult content in the book, but they do it without creating that romance that is kind of gotten a little bit old and overdone in that whole section. So just love that series, highly recommend it. I want to continue on. I'm definitely going to keep reading the audiobooks as long as I can get my hands on them, and I look forward to catching up. I don't think it's complete. I think it's about 7 books long, but I'll keep reading as long as they're coming out. Now a series I really want to get back to is the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon. I read the first book over a year ago when I was on vacation and really enjoyed it. It's a historical romance with a bit of a time travel element, and I've been meaning to get back to it. I just thought it was fun. I know other people had issues with kind of the feminine aspect and different, there's definitely some difficult content in there, but I just kind of took it, I don't know, I just kind of didn't think about it too hard, just took it as a fun book to read and really enjoyed it, so I've been meaning to get back to it. The books are fairly chunky. There's a ton in this series. It's still not complete, but I'd like to get back to this one and read Dragonfly in Ember, hopefully soon, hopefully this winter. Last book I want to get back to is a series that has been outstanding for way too long, and that is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. And this is a series I actually read back in high school. It's a crossover between historical fiction set in kind of a Victorian England, crossed over with fantasy. It takes place in a boarding school, and basically there's this group of young women who have these interesting powers, and I just remember loving it as a young adult. I'm hoping that I still love the series as much as an adult. I don't know why I didn't continue it. I've always wanted to read the rest of the series, so I'm definitely going to give it a try, pick up the next book when I get a chance, and I'm hoping it still lives up to my expectations because I remember loving this one. I probably forgot something, but that is basically all the series that I currently am reading or want to get back to at some point. Please let me know which of the books I mentioned are worth going back to, which series just get better and better. I tend to focus on standalones, but I definitely want to read really good series, so please give me some feedback, let me know. Otherwise, feel free to follow me on Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram. And otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, goodbye.